Hi.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Kat Mak Talk Show. I've got Carolyn Wynne on the show. Mark,
Snow.
there's snow. There is
Tree's still
snow.
up. Don't
There
judge
is
me.
snow. So, we're going to talk about the snow in a second. However, I would
Yes.
love to just quickly introduce you, Carolyn Wynne. You are a best-selling author. You are the reluctant writer, which is what I love. And when I saw your tagline, your business name, I'm like,
Yep.
that's cool. That is so cool. So we're going to talk about how that came about and what
Yep.
you're doing now and why you chose the word reluctant, because it's probably going to resonate with a lot of women out there that are wanting to build their brand, build their business, and they're shit scared. So,
Right.
which is so common. And at some
They
stage,
are scared.
they
Yeah.
need to say yes to themselves. So as I did, because for a
Yes.
long
Look at
time
you now.
I did not say yes to myself. So thank you for jumping on yet again. Talk to me about the snow. Did you feel like you want to have Christmas in again?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because the Christmas tree's up and the snow's there, and I feel like
Well, the,
jingle bells.
the tree's still up. The tree's still up because I went to California for New Year's and didn't get back till last week. And I'm leaving it up till February 1st. And yeah, I usually leave it up through January because it's a lot of work to put up. And then it's so pretty. I usually have the lights on, but I had to use the cord for something else. But did I feel like having Christmas again? Not really. I'm so used to, I think people that don't live here, and I've made posts about it, who think we're crazy to live here where the snow is like this. But for me, the
Where's the snow?
snow, what's that?
Is the snow here?
It was at 2 feet. So that behind me is the other apartment stairway up the back of the
Wow.
house, and it's covered. So we did have 2 feet. And what that, it just gives me the nostalgic feeling of I'm a kid again. I just love the feeling of this. I don't mind being snowed in. It gives me a reason to be lazy and get under the covers and
It
binge.
really is
I
all
don't mind
about
it.
I love
Yeah,
this. Do you ski?
I don't. Believe
It's
it or
all
not.
about the feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I just love what it does for me, as I was saying, is it brings back my childhood memories of snow days when they called off school and then you got to just hang out, and we all hung out. There were no internet. There was no internet. So we'd be running around the neighborhood. I remember the blizzard of 78. We were skating on the streets
Oh,
and
wow.
sledding down. You
I
know, yeah, it was,
I
the
couldn't
cars were covered in snow
wow.
and
And even 'cause it doesn't snow here in
right,
inner city Melbourne. You literally
right.
I've got to drive 6 hours to get decent snow, and I love
Ah,
the snow.
yeah.
Now 6 hours is a long way to get snow just
To get to
quietly,
snow.
and it's
Right,
ridiculously expensive. Backwards, do we have clearing? All that kind of stuff.
right.
Which affects your nervous system. Do you say yes to yourself? And you talk about this till the cows come home. But I wanted to ask you, with your feeling of, you said I felt safe, which is why I
Yeah.
love the snow, which is makes me feel like I want to stay inside, which I love. Did that was that part of your journey to become and be the reluctant writer? Because writing is a gift.
Yes.
So did that
So in a way, I love that question, never been asked that before. So the safe, secure, comfortable love that I felt in my household with my parents, and I love children, that safe, secure feeling led me to be that kind of teacher. So even though I taught for 30 years, 5th grade and 6th grade English, the other half of it 5th grade, definitely I became the type of teacher I am because of the love from my parents, and that, and the kind of teacher I am is I want my students to feel safe in my classroom. And even today, yes, you just made me realize it does connect to the reluctant writer, because I talked to a young pre-dental student today who was nervous about what am I supposed to write about, and I took her through the brainstorm session, and I actually said my number one goal is that you're comfortable with me and you're not stressed. I want it comfortable. And so I don't know if I might have said this to you before, but I remember years ago, people saying to me, I feel like I said this to you before. You see if you remember it. How do you control 25 kids?
no, you haven't. How do you
Uh,
control 25 kids?
How do you control 25 fifth graders? And that always bothered me because if you want to control them, that doesn't feel good to me, right? And
Yeah, I
so
just closed my arms. I'm like, "What? You're controlling."
and on top of that, I remember people asking me about my philosophy of teaching, and I thought it had to be this educated, wordy thing. And later on, maybe even in the last 5 or 10 years, I realized my philosophy of teaching is, and this is the way I describe it to people now. When you're in middle school and you're changing classes and they say, "What block is it now?" And they say B block. And then the kid hears that and goes, "Yes, it's Miss Wynn's class." That's my philosophy. So you're not controlling the kids. You're making it so wonderful for them to enter the room that they want to come in. And then they
Yeah.
don't want to, they generally don't want to act up because they're happy to be there. They know you love them. They love you back. I remember a principal put me on the spot one time and says, "How do you create such a wonderful class environment?" And I just said, "I just love them." So that comes from my mom and dad. And that also carries over to my dental students. And I'm amazed all the time at how my sixth graders and fifth graders, that 30 years of experience carries over into this, because everybody wants to feel safe and comfortable and that the person they're talking to has their best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And I literally say almost every time, "I'm going to give you the feedback as if I have a son and a daughter. I'm going to treat you the same way I would treat them. I'm going to give you the honest feedback. If I don't like something, I'm going to think, what would I tell Darren or Kirsten?" And that's not controlling children.
No.
That's that's creating an atmosphere that they love.
So is that because I know the reluctant writer, you are still operating that business and I know you love it.
I love it.
However, from our last meeting, life is changing. So you are a best-selling author of the Empower Her book, which you poured your heart out. And for
Yes.
those of you that have not bought it, download it. You can get onto Amazon, you know all the links, yada yada.
Yes.
From writing that book, because it's now been, I think, 6 months, it could be 6 months. How has your life changed? Because you said yes to yourself and you decided to pour your words because you're the reluctant writer, but this is a little bit different because it's your story. So how did you saying yes to yourself change everything?
So first, it just gave me a confidence that just I embodied this confidence, and it just from being in that book, right? So, and then I even remember the day we all talked to Elsa. That was amazing, being on this in the same call with all those women, and we're all empowered, and I've made friends with some of those women, including yourself. So that's the confidence piece is huge. Flying to Chicago by myself, I didn't even give that a second thought. Years ago, I just want to be in the room with everybody. So that trip felt empowering right there.
Yeah.
Meeting everybody was amazing. That trip was real. I just feel like a different person on that level.
Yeah,
Feel
so
even,
so it's yeah, you interestingly said, it gave me a confidence boost because you did the action first.
yes.
See,
You
a
said,
lot of
I
the
read some,
times yeah, a
yes.
lot of the times, don't we think that, you know what, I need to lose 20 kilos. Let me go and join the best gym and let me just go get the best leggings and the best gear. And it's like, no, start where you are.
Yeah, there's so many things now going through my head to respond to that. One, start where you are is what I do with my clients every day. What do I need? What do I need? Wherever you're at, I'm going to start where you are. So that's true. And I saw something today that you posted. Was it confidence comes after? What was that post I just saw and
Well,
I liked
yeah,
it?
it's confidence that comes after you say yes.
Yes. And
It doesn't come
yes.
beforehand
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
because
And that did happen.
as women, we're like, I don't know about you, I'm talking about personally myself because that post was me at one
Yes.
point. And sometimes,
Yes.
can I ask you a question? Why do we sometimes fall backwards?
Fall backwards in not taking that leap? Oh, it's fear. So one of my favorites is when you decide to take that leap of faith, the first thing I've told you this before, that you're going to greet is fear, nod and keep walking. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
love
it's
that.
fear of being judged or fear you're not good enough. I think it's for me, I think it's fear and lack of that confidence. So once you do it, And then you say, "Oh, I did that. I talked on a podcast with the woman that is the publisher of my book with 25 other women, and I went to Chicago by myself, and I put my story out there, and people are saying, 'Oh my gosh, your story needs to be heard.'" And I'm getting a lot of feedback about the chapter, and the people are asking for the book and reading the book.
How does that make you
It's
feel?
Oh, I feel wonderful. I feel so and it was challenging to think to put the story out there because I felt vulnerable. But then I've always known that I wanted to empower other women, and aside from the reluctant writer, which is amazingly empowering of others, I have to say they're getting I'm helping them fulfill their wildest dreams of getting to medical and dental school, small part, but I'm helping. But I've always wanted to inspire women to think they don't have to stay in a bad situation, and you don't have to be in that situation if you can make a plan. Because I started the thought of it in September, and I planned it for a year almost. You can get out of a bad situation. You just have to figure out how. But that vulnerability of putting that story out there, that was hard because a lot of people wrote to me and said, "I didn't know that was going on." And oh, I wish I knew that. And and it's made me think, why didn't I reach out to more people? I was very private about it. And I think I was maybe fear of being judged, that people say, "Why did you stay?" I have a million. Yeah. So it
Yeah.
impacted you.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's that imposter syndrome,
Yep.
and when you write your own story and you reiterate your story, I'm gonna talk of a personal experience.
Yeah. I love to hear it.
The authors I have in Keeping
Yes.
This to Herself, one of them said, and her stories it needs a Netflix series, pretty much in a nutshell. Yeah,
I
like
have to get
it's
that book.
hardcore.
Yes.
And she said, "I'm finally detached from the crap that I went through. I'm now finally detached from my story. It has empowered me to release stuff that I've been holding
Yes.
on for literally 25 years."
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's
And
amazing.
yeah, and people have resonated with your story, resonated with, the women in this book. And
In the book.
you,
Yeah.
so if there's anybody out there listening and you want to share your story, obviously don't share it in a dramatic, oh my God, victim mode, because that's not going to resonate.
No.
When you share a story, the other person resonates because they're kind of looking in the mirror going, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if she can do it, I can do it too. Because in your book, you wrote about trust and take a leap of faith and just do it
Yes.
anyway. So my
Yes.
question to you is what advice would you give high achieving women that are so scared to take that first step because they're so overwhelmed? What advice would you give them?
It's it's a process of overcoming the negative thoughts and pushing them aside, and just the feeling you get when you let go of the negative. And the moment I knew, one of my other parts of my journey was retiring early from teaching to get to put my full time into the business. And if I could share one thing, I don't know how I did it, but if you can just dig deep, right? And think, and I was thinking, is the business going to keep me going? Do I want to retire early? Because that's sort of against societal things to retire early in the box. So I would say you have to shift your mindset that you're going to trust the universe or God or who. It's going to be fine. You have to trust that if
Mhm.
it's something that's worthy and meaningful to you, it's going to work out, and you do not have to know how. So when I started The Reluctant Writer, I trusted it was going to work. And then dental students fell in my lap. I was helping high school kids with their college app essays. I had no clue I was going to have most all week dental fell in my lap. So the belief in myself and the leap to retire, well, I already had the dental students when I retired, but once you get the belief in yourself that I just can't be scared anymore, I have to do it. Once I
Stick your
did
pants
that,
on.
yes,
Stick your pants on.
yes.
Stick your pants on.
Yes. And the moment I'm going to describe to you is walking into my principal's office.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. And I knew in my whole soul I was in. It was over. That negative fear was gone. And it took a while. It took friends cheering me on and and when I finally decided to do it and I walked in, I sat down like Ellen DeGeneres and I said, I am retiring. And I felt like I felt like $1,000,000. That was one of my favorite moments of my life. And she was so happy for me and shocked. And that feeling, you're going to get that feeling because
You know,
yes,
no disrespect to anybody that wants 9 to 5. There's enough love for
nothing wrong.
everyone. But oh my God, I'm telling you, I felt the same. When I
Really?
left the
Yeah.
rat race,
What happened with you? Yeah.
well, the rat race of being in retail all my life, and, I lived my life in a plane. That's, and I know it's everyone's dream, but let me tell you,
Right.
because I've traveled around the world building brands, businesses for somebody else, a retail team,
Right.
and that was my role for a long time. However, it takes a toll mentally on your body. I didn't love myself, and, you can read my story in the book, but I got sick, physically got sick where I was burnt, and I was forced to stop because I ended up in hospital with third-degree burns, blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's true story. I was in a
Right.
nasty accident at home, 6.5 weeks in the hospital, multiple skin grafts all over my body, 3 months off work. And I
Wow.
decided, what am I doing? I nearly died. What am I doing?
Wow.
How many signs as women out there, how many signs are going to land in your lap when you're going to make that change and say, you know what, no more? And could be no 9 to 5, or it could be, I want to leave working for myself and I want a 9 to 5, whatever.
Yeah.
At times, are you going to be given on a platter where you go, I got to listen to the signs? At some stage, you need to listen to the signs because I didn't. I didn't.
Right. No. What was it? What moment was it where you went, I'm in, I'm going?
Well,
And now yeah.
one, I really wanted to see my son. I pretty much went to work straight after my son was 2 months old.
Oh,
Because, straight back to work, he was in daycare. Because 'cause I'm amazing, I'm invincible, I'm the yes person, so not. I was exhausted.
yes.
And I write this in my
2 months. Yeah.
and I'm gonna say it over and over again. I love what I did. I did not love who I became. So if you're out
Wow.
there thinking, I love what I do, I don't love who I'm becoming, you have every right to go, I'm going to make a change. Whatever it is that Carolyn's saying, trust and take a leap of faith, because that's exactly what you wrote in your chapter. Or you've also said many, many times before, manifest everything. And although manifesting is really not the be all and end all, but it actually gives you happy hormones, doesn't it? Every time you get up I don't know when you do your blah, blah, juju, jiji, whether you do it in the morning, I don't know,
Yeah.
evening,
Yeah.
but how does that make you
I love
feel?
the manifesting. Here's my dog now. Manifesting and having it come true. Listen to this. Last year, I do brainstorm sessions with pre-dental colleges around the country. There's only a handful, and I'd like to do more. So
Okay,
I have 10 instead of 5. So I've
that's a
got
lot.
5 more coming up. So I remember saying to my son about a year ago, University of Miami is the one I've done every year for 6 years. This will be my 6th year when I do theirs next month. And the last year when I did it, I said, I want to come to Miami and do it in person. I want to do that. And then I thought, and I was saying to my son, my dream would be go to the school, do the brainstorm session in person, stay the week and work with all the students that want to work with me. That's
Love
what I
that.
said a year ago. I just said, there's another thing. Say it.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I
No,
am meeting with two main uh Tougaloo College, HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities that are underserved. They are hiring me to go to Mississippi, work with their students because they don't have those opportunities. They got a grant, and I'm meeting with them
I love
tomorrow.
that. There you go.
I
Love that.
just, yeah. So say it. I want this for my, I didn't think I was going to, I think when I said it, I dreamed that would be awesome. Pictured myself flying into Miami. Somebody picked me up and I get to meet these people. The funny thing I'm thinking of, it's in Mississippi. Can you imagine my accent with the Mississippi? The students, they're going to think, oh my gosh, it's going to be so funny. But
Oh,
but
that's
that's
gold.
coming. The woman that called me to talk to me about it a couple weeks ago said, we also work with Jackson State and other HBCUs in the South, and we're going to pull you in.
There you go. You don't know who is watching, and
Yeah.
you don't know who's watching. You absolutely don't.
Yep.
So, you're right. There's women out there wanting to just make that change, just put it down, exactly what you said, write it down, manifest it, say it out loud. It gives you happy hormones, which means you're going to take some kind of momentum. Any movement
Yeah.
is better than no movement at all. So, I would like to ask you one question, which I'm so happy when I saw it you post. And
Okay.
you posted your dad wrote his
Oh.
first book. You know that I shed a tear because I lost
Oh,
my
did you
mum 2
love
years ago. And, yeah, and which is how my podcast came about.
sorry.
Another story in itself. Yeah.
Yes.
I started my
My
podcast
dad
because
because of your mom?
yeah,
Oh.
I needed to voice I was feeling blocked and suffocated, and I was her carer, and on the day
Oh.
she died, I sat down with mum and I said, "Mum, it's gonna be okay." This is the morning she passed. "It's gonna be okay. I'm going to be okay." And that day I
Oh.
started the podcast. 4 hours later, my mum
Oh.
become an angel.
Oh, wow.
I'm my mother's daughter to an extent, just
Mhm.
kind of ish.
Yes.
I've got
I
all my mum's
imagine
good
she's
traits.
wonderful.
That's what I wanna believe. Anyway, talk to me about your dad. How did that come about? Because you know what? I love that.
Yes. How did my dad come about to write a book? Zoe, come here. If you're going to make noise, you got to sit up here. So he went to school. We both went to Syracuse University. He went to school for journalism and thought he was going to be a writer and like a reporter. And when he got out of school, they got married. My parents have been married 69 years.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
she took the picture, which was pretty cool too, at the
Oh,
nursing
yeah.
home. So my dad realized that wasn't going to pay the bills once they were a young couple. They got married at 19 and 21 and
Yeah.
had 4 kids by the time she was maybe 25, 26. And he ended up working for Gillette. Long story short, he ended up then working for his best friend, and he got into the construction business, and they owned companies, and that's what he did his whole life. And
Okay.
when he retired, I put, I think in the post that they they remodeled my childhood bedroom into an office, and at 70 years old, he would go up there and we'd come over and we'd be like, "Where's dad?" He's up in the office writing a historical fiction book. So what he did was he researched, it was a captain on the USS Constitution. He got some information about this unknown man that had an amazing life, and he researched that guy for years, and the book is about his life.
Oh, how
And
wonderful.
he self-published it, did a book talk, did a book signing down in South Carolina where they were living at the time, and dressed up like the man. He's had so much fun with it.
So when was it published?
Let's see. So he was 75, oh, 15 or 16 years ago.
So he wrote the book, when he started writing when he was 75. So there's never I love that, and I have my
Yeah,
friends asking me, "What do I do when I grow up?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm 57. I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up." 'Cause you evolve,
right.
you change, right?
Yes,
So,
yes,
and that
yeah,
there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty I
yes.
love that you shared that story. And for
Oh, I'm
those of you
so
out
glad.
there that are thinking, "You know what? Should I not start?" Look to see which elders are doing what they have no fear because 'cause they're thinking, "My time is going, and time waits for no one."
Yeah.
So I
I
love that.
started yeah. I started this in my 50s, and
Yeah.
now I'm
Me too.
63, so, yeah,
You
he knew
never know.
that his whole life, and that was his plan, and he did it. When I brought him that book, or when I before I bought the book and I went over to tell him about the book, he's and once it was published, he said, "When you get the copy, we have to get a picture together." And that was August. I hadn't got I kept forgetting it, and then I remembered to bring his and mine, and it was a moment for sure if you look at his face.
I can talk to you till the cows come home.
I know.
I know we don't have all day. What I did want to ask you in closing is if your story had a headline, what would it be?
Like my entire life story or the story
Yeah,
from the just any
yeah, off the top of your head.
I off the top of my head comes where there's a will, there's a way.
There you go.
That's yeah.
Love that.
That's what came to my head. Yeah.
We don't
That's
overthink
what
it.
my dad yeah,
Where
where
there's a
there's a will,
will,
there's a way.
it's where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Some of these sayings of our past, maybe we need to just write a book of sayings that are
I
empowering. I'm
know.
sure they've already done that. I don't know. But
I
yes,
know.
on that note, Carolyn, thank you so much yet again for joining me and sharing your wisdom and
You're welcome.
your foresight and your snow and your Christmas tree. Where there is a will, there is a way. You have a fantastic night. And don't
Oh,
if this resonated with you, then subscribe because there is always wisdom when we share our story.
absolutely. Thank you.
Bye for now.